Now that we got to see, those three main guys play for their two respective squads, what did you think about, early returns, I guess, from OG with the Knicks and those guys with the Raps?
I was just excited. December trades, they never happen in the NBA. I was excited for both teams because the Raptors haven't had this good a guard since Kyle Lowry, I'd say. Having Immanuel Quickley in that starting line, a guy who can score, is awesome for them. Just because they had so many wings in OG and Scotty Barnes and then I was going to say Precious and Pascal Siakam. The fact that they let Fred VanVleet go, this just fills a slot in there because the guy can pull up and hit threes, he can hit floaters, he can get to the rim. That being said, watching him there, he looked like a bench player when he was with the Raptors because he just wanted to score. So I hope that they take a second and get part of the team. I think that was the problem watching him. But Immanuel Quickley is great, and he's not just a point guard. And so with him and Scotty Barnes got to be handling that ball as well. So hopefully it's a good twosome when it comes down to it because the guy can score. Quickley last year had a great year, was almost six-man. His minutes have been reduced because the Knicks just had too many guards, so they said, all right, why don't we go get OG Anunoby, who looked damn good and just fits so much better. I mean, they went and signed Miles McBride to a 3-year deal this past weekend, so they wanted to go get another wing because they just got so many freaking guards. So it's a great deal right now because will these three guys, the three main guys in this deal, get better? Because Precious wasn't all that good for the Knicks yesterday. Will Quickley get better with minutes up? Will RJ Barrett going home start to play better? And will OG be happy in New York? It's just they're great balances, I would say, on both teams. So it's exciting. Quickley's just got to learn that I think Barnes now and Siakam are going to be scorers before him. But it is great to see him and Barrett in the starting lineup because I think he's just going to make even Jakob Poeltl better. The team is just balanced better than just hit you with an OG, hit you with a Siakam, hit you with a Barnes. They just had too many wings. You saw what was done in yesterday's game. They looked a lot better.
That seems like the key word here. Balanced rosters for both of them. Honestly, for the Knicks, getting a defensive wing stopper, a guy that can hit the corner three. And for the Raptors, getting some guys that can create one-on-one. That really jumped out to me as Raptors fans. It's like, holy crap, the Raptors have a bunch of guys in the starting lineup who can actually handle the ball and create things now, which, that's not OG's strong suit. He does many other things at an elite level, but that is not one of them where you can give him the ball and say, hey, go get us a bucket. But Quickley, 14, 6, and 3. He sort of went ice cold in the fourth quarter, but he could get to that floater anytime he wants. And then RJ Barrett with 19 points and 9 boards. Anunoby, 17 points, 6 boards, hit a couple corner threes. That's what he does. And he was like, I think he had the best plus-minus in the game. Both of these teams win, Trey. You agree with this idea, though, of a balanced roster? After one game, it makes some sense for the Knicks and the Raps?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense because you've got fans on both the Raptors side and the Knicks side saying we fleeced them. And you've got fans on both the Raptors side and the Knicks side saying we got fleeced. So it must be a fair trade, and I think kind of like as expected for both of these teams. Still a lot of spacing issues, I do believe, for the Raptors. Definitely better with Scotty Barnes and now Immanuel Quickley there. But they're going to be playing 3 non-shooters in Barrett, Poeltl, who had a really solid game finishing inside, and then Siakam, who was so hot in game 1 with Immanuel Quickley there, 5 for 8 from 3. The rest of the Raptors went 6 for 22 from 3. So that's still going to be a problem, I think. But I was impressed the way the Raptors were getting their best shots down the stretch. I thought when it was either Barnes handling or Immanuel Quickley handling, not saying they could make any of these shots. I saw that the NBA's YouTube page gave this a fantastic finish, but they couldn't even give it like a nickname. They're just like, this is a close finish. Everybody was missing down the stretch. Right. It was not a masterpiece, but I thought good stuff, especially when Quickley was initiating the ball. Like you're saying, Tass, like Quickley is the coolest player to watch on the Raptors since probably Kawhi Leonard. And maybe dating back to Vince Carter prior to that. They haven't had, their stars haven't been the coolest of watching all the time. DeRozan was fun to watch when he was heating. Anyways, I thought they were pretty good, but I thought a couple of brutal turnovers down the stretch still from RJ Barrett. He should have the ball 4th among those guys, and I didn't think it was a surprise to see that Coach Darko had him sitting quite a bit in the 4th quarter as well. I think that it's pretty weird that this trade went down, and we kind of consider RJ Barrett the throw-in here, despite the fact that he averages the most points per game, is the biggest name, and is paid the most. But he feels like the 3rd guy in this trade because, like you're saying, Quickley is the potential Brunson deal here, right? Like, Dallas didn't want to pay Jalen Brunson, so the Knicks are like, yeah, we'll do it, and he's been a star for them. That's what the Raptors are hoping with Immanuel Quickley as well. And then on the flip side, OG Anunoby, all he has to do is finish plays.
Yeah.
Just cut. Just get open. He said, I had no idea what I was doing out there. They were telling me in the middle of the game, and stand in the corner and hit threes or cut to the rim for a dunk.
Yep.
It works. And he just needs the ball so little compared to IQ, which I think is something that the Knicks will try to address going forward. They'll probably want another backup big, and they'll probably want a guard to replace Quickley. But I was impressed with OG Anunoby, and I was thought kind of smart by Tom Thibodeau splitting up Brunson and Randall. Since they have one fewer ball handler now, one of those guys has to be on the court all the time. And one of those guys was on the court all the time. So great stuff from OG Anunoby. And he held Anthony Edwards to 35 points.
He fouled out with 4 minutes to go, too.
Yeah.
Bad, brutal last call, the sixth foul that took him off the floor. But, yeah, he as the stopper, he got the Anthony Edwards assignment. He still got his, but he obviously is he's a positive when he was out there. And you saw how he contributed in that way. We've seen time and time again as Raptors fans. I mean, I do love the blowback from a bunch of Toronto Raptors fans today. Where was all this love for OG Anunoby when he played for Toronto? Because you see the Bleacher Report sort of like stat breakdowns and wow, this guy's really good. And Raptors fans go crazy because like, we've been telling you he's really good, but you don't care. Because, you know, they got the little brother syndrome up in Canada and it's like, you never pay attention to us. There's some truth to it. This is what he did for Toronto for years. And now he's in New York and he's going to get more of a spotlight on him and more accolades, which, you know, as an OG fan, I'm happy for. It's just unfortunate, I guess.
Yeah, and the question is, and I think from people who followed him for years, is he going to be okay with being the supporting player? Because he is not going to have the offense run through him. He's going to stand in the quarters at times, take shots from there, and make shots from there. But he's also just going to have to cut and be good at that because the offense is going to run through Brunson. It's going to run through Randall. And he was fantastic at it yesterday. It looks like he would be the perfect third and fourth guy at times on that offense. He's just going to be really, really good if he's going to cut and be athletic and pass because he had opportunities to take more shots if he wanted to just dribble into shots. And I think that's what the problem with Immanuel Quickley was a little bit. The problem with RJ Barrett was a little bit watching him. Are you going to be okay just being the guy off the ball? And Quickley, I hope will be that, but OG was that in this one. The question is Quickley and Barrett in the backcourt. I love how the Raps just threw them into the starting lineup. Dennis Schroeder, sorry. It's time. It's time to see if Immanuel Quickley is good. And he was, but there are times when they just didn't pass the ball. RJ Barrett gets that tunnel vision. He had 5 turnovers in this game because he just kind of goes through guys, which was good, and that he could go through guys physically, just driving through guys. But at times, he didn't see who he should be passing to.
He gets caught a lot of the times. Like, he makes that drive. He maybe's thinking about going up, but he's like too far away, and then he gets up in the air and he's like, oh crap, what am I going to do now? And then that's a lot of those turnovers came that way late.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, oh, I got to chuck it. I got to try and chuck it to somebody on my team, and they were easy picks.
Yeah, but it is great to see a quick guard because the Raps just didn't have a guy who could dribble from the point guard position. Now they have all 4 who can pass and shoot. And, I say, 4 because it's Barnes, Siakam, and Quickley along with RJ Barrett. And then Pirtle should be working off them really, really great. But now if you saw Siakam yesterday, was freaking awesome in just feeling like he's the number 1 guy, scoring 36. Him and Barnes are going to be.
Devlin, every time he hit a 3, it's 2024!
Well, that was my favorite takeaway from these debuts yesterday. The Knicks win, and OG was great, like we talked about. Raptors win, they held on. Barrett and Quickley were okay being thrown in as the starters. But the stars were Randall and Siakam. Like, they were the reasons why both of their teams won the game. 2 guys that are, like, constantly in trade talks, and, like, the fan bases always go back and forth on, like, oh, he's an all-star, he's an all-NBA. Trade him, he's a bum. Happens from game to game, it feels like, with both of these franchises. But they were awesome. They were the reasons their team won.
Yes, and the fact was the Raps weren't going to sign OG Anunoby because they just needed a different guy. And the Knicks weren't going to sign Immanuel Quickley because they just needed a different guy. So they made those trades, and I just wonder, Darko Rajakovic, Raptors head coach, is going to say, let's move that thing. Let's all be a part of this thing. Let's be a part of this thing, Immanuel Quickley. So let's do that. RJ Barrett, let's do that. And if they do that, they're going to be great. Scotty Barnes will be more of a scorer, will be more of a guy. They will be running, him and Quickley will be running up the floor like they were yesterday. They looked good. The only thing I didn't like was Scotty Barnes doing that sprinkler dance in the intro. And his name is announced, Scotty Barnes! And then he does the sprinkler, does the old sprinkler, the like, from the 1980s.
It's 2024.
It's 2024, says Matt Devlin. Anyways, they're just a better five. So they're more fun to watch. The Knicks are going to be fun to watch, too.
All right, so they're happy after one game here with their new pieces in there, both the Knicks and Raptors fans.